Philippines tonight. Majority of Supreme Court justices uphold the declaration on martial law in Mindanao. But this isn't the end of the road for petitioners. Government troops claim victory after retaking Dansalan College, one of the Maoist strongholds in Marawi. And award-winning scriptwriter Ricky Lee tells CNN Philippines why he left the Metro Manila Film Festival Execom. Good evening, I'm Mitzi Borromeo. The Supreme Court has spoken. Martial law in Mindanao is valid. Majority of the justices voted to uphold President Duterte's martial law proclamation in Mindanao amid the crisis in Marawi. Our Anjo Alimario has more.
The court dismissed the petitions by a vote of 11 of its members. 3 members voted to partially grant the petitions, and 1 member voted to grant the petitions.
The Supreme Court seals the legal basis for the proclamation of martial law in Mindanao. And it's an overwhelming victory for President Duterte. 11 of the 15 justices denied a consolidated petition challenging the basis of Proclamation 216. Only 1 affirmed it. This means Mr. Duterte's military rule on the Mindanao Island Group is valid. No official word yet from the High Court who among the justices voted for or against the petitions.
All 15 justices have submitted draft opinions, whether concurring or dissenting. All these opinions will be finalized and submitted tomorrow. That is all I'm authorized to say.
There are 3 consolidated petitions questioning the legality of President Duterte's military rule. Their argument, there's no factual basis to declare martial law in Mindanao. And there's no actual rebellion happening in Davao City. Rebellion is one of the bases to declare martial law. But Solicitor General Jose Calida refuted this. The crisis in Marawi is just part of a bigger plot to establish an Islamic state in Mindanao. Outside the court, tension broke out between those against the proclamation and the police who blocked them from getting near the High Court. They only have strong sentiments against the decision.
Ito po ay masamang pangitain dahil nga tila ginawa na ng Supreme Court na mas madali na mag-declare ng martial law, hindi lang sa Mindanao kung hindi sa buong Pilipinas.
But they are not giving up their cause.
The remedy for a motion for reconsideration is not lost. The petitioners or the lawyers will definitely study once we are in receipt of the official copy of the decision.
Without any legal obstacle, the administration can fully carry out the powers of military rule to quell the rebellion and terrorism in Mindanao, at least for the remaining weeks before the 60-day limit ends this month. Anjo Alimario, CNN Philippines.
President Rodrigo Duterte says he respects the opinion of justices who opposed or agreed with reservations his proclamation of martial law in Mindanao. In an ambush interview in Bulacan, Mr. Duterte defended his decision to carry out military rule because his security officials told him the situation was critical. Here's the president in his own words.
When you declare martial law, you have to use your coconut. The gray matters between your ears says that it's very easy to escape because there is no division in terms of land. Tuloy-tuloy, they can go anywhere and we can have a spillover. Our number 1 duty is really to protect and defend the Filipino people. 1 death, 2 deaths, that the malaking impact na sa amin.
President Duterte also attended the Philippine Air Force's 70th anniversary celebration in Clark, Pampanga. He said the air troops are playing a crucial role in efforts to retake Marawi City from ISIS-inspired terrorists. Vice President Leni Robredo says the Supreme Court's decision to uphold martial law in Mindanao is a, quote, affirmation of democratic process. Robredo adds she expects that Congress will review the president's declaration. She also calls on Filipinos to continue to work on providing relief and help rebuild lives of affected Maranaos. The government's lawyer welcomes the decision of the Supreme Court. In a statement, Solicitor General Jose Calida says the decision underscores the existence of rebellion that threatens the lives of Filipinos in Mindanao. He adds he's grateful to the magistrates for allowing President Duterte to perform his duty of protecting the Filipino people. Kalida also calls for unity and prayer so that the bloody war in Mindanao will end as soon as possible. Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Sal Panelo, meanwhile, says President Duterte is pleased with the decision of the Supreme Court.
It's not surprising that 11 justices voted in favor of the declaration of martial law because the Constitution is very clear. The President followed each step of the constitutional requirement, and the facts, the reality on the ground supports the declaration of martial law. Of course, there is a dissent, but then again, that's democracy in action.
Petitioners and opposition lawmakers react to the Supreme Court's decision on the martial law proclamation. In a statement, one of the petitioners, Ifugao Representative Teddy Bagilat, says martial law must be subject to public scrutiny and that they will continue to, quote, vigorously oppose martial law declaration and possible extension and expansion. Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosa says the decision sets ground for the arbitrary declaration of a nationwide martial law as it upheld the presence of rebellion based merely on inaccurate and fake reports by the military. Another petitioner, ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino, expressed disappointment over the decision.
So ang pangamba natin ngayon dahil sa decision na ito ay wala nang hadlang. No, una para sa pag-extend pa ng martial law sa Mindanao. Pangalawa, yung paglawak pa ng saklaw. Maaring hindi na lang sa Mindanao, no, ang maging deklarasyon ng martial law.
Senator Antonio Trillanes, meanwhile, says he respects the court's decision. He says the ruling gave credence to his statement that, quote, the Senate used to be the last bastion of democracy. While Senator and Liberal Party President Kiko Pangilinan also respects the ruling. He urges Malacanang to consider the wisdom of the 3 SC justices who moved to limit martial law to Marawi. Here are some top stories from around the world. North Korea claims it successfully tested an intercontinental ballistic missile today. That type of missile can reach U.S. soil. North Korea's state-controlled Korean Central Television reports leader Kim Jong-un ordered the test. This is North Korea's 11th missile test this year. It comes about a day after U.S. President Donald Trump spoke about the North Korean issue with the leaders of China and Japan. President Trump quickly reacted to the missile launch on Twitter. He asked, referring to Kim, does this guy have anything better to do with his life? Trump went on to say, hard to believe that South Korea and Japan will put up with this much longer. Perhaps China will put a heavy move on North Korea and end this nonsense once and for all. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says the test shows North Korea's threat has increased. China calls for all parties to exercise restraint and avoid actions that will escalate the situation. And a man was charged with plotting to assassinate French President Emmanuel Macron. A spokeswoman for the Paris prosecutor's office told CNN the 23-year-old suspect was arrested on Wednesday by anti-terror services. He was charged with individual terrorist activity. Investigators said the man planned to attack Mr. Macron on Bastille Day, July 14, during a parade in Paris, where U.S. President Donald Trump will be a guest of honor. Police said it's too early to say if the suspect is linked to a wider network, although he was reportedly convicted of terror-related activity in 2016. Find out how the government plans to provide shelter to thousands of families displaced by the conflict in Davao City. And we'll tell you why the newest offering of German car maker BMW is changing the way you look at luxury vehicles. CNN Philippines Newsroom will be right back. Hello to those of you joining us on Facebook Live. Coming up for you on the next segment of the newsroom, we have news for you, updates on what is happening in Marawi, and also some business updates for you. And looking at your reactions on Facebook Live, I see that we got a lot of reactions to the story on the Supreme Court, the ruling on martial law in Mindanao. Now, let's see what greetings are coming out for us here on Facebook Live. I see here that Evelyn Villosilo is watching from Hong Kong, and we also want to say to Heidi Eugenio, who is watching from Guam. And also, Mary Ann Villarosa says, good evening. And okay, I just realized this is Dennis Navarro saying hello. Hi to you. And Nelly Sakano is also watching from Hong Kong. Thanks for your greetings. We don't have much time to say hi to all of you today, but do stay tuned until the end of the show. And please let us know what you think of the stories and let us know where you're watching from. Stay tuned. You're back in the newsroom on CNN Philippines. Government troops in Marawi retake a school which was a Maoist stronghold. As of July 3, government forces killed 337 terrorists, but hundreds of residents are still trapped inside the war zone. George Cahiles has that story.
Soldiers hold strategic positions as they advance towards known strongholds of remaining Maoist fighters in Marawi City. Joint Task Force Marawi says there is no let-up in their operations and troops continue to fight the enemy. The military on Tuesday reports they now in control of Dansalan College, one of the areas that Abdullah Maute used as his lair. These high-powered firearms, including this caliber 50 machine gun, were recovered in Dansalan College, the school where the Maute brothers received their early education.
The school is host to some high-rise structures that serve as machine gun nests and snipers' vantage position of terrorist elements. Soldiers are gradually taking over terrorist-held structures as enemy strong points fall by one to government forces.
The military says a foreign-looking fighter, which they said to be one of the Singaporeans who joined the Maute, was killed inside the school. Ground and air attacks become more intense. These photos show the situation on the ground, heavily damaged houses and infrastructure in downtown Marawi. Marawi City Mayor Mahul Usman Gandamra says more than 30 of the city's 96 barangays need massive rehabilitation.
Doon po nagkaroon ng matinding bakbakan, especially the business center, kung saan doon po nagstay itong mga grupo na ito dahil nandyan po yung malalaking buildings kung saan doon sila nagkukuble.
Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says the fighting may end in a week or so. People have died, government troops, civilians, and several hundred Maute attackers. Over 100 Marawi residents are still trapped inside the war zone. This civilian was rescued this morning, now being treated at the Amay Pakpak Medical Center because of a gunshot wound on his neck.
Daily stream of civilians are being rescued while battle rages as government forces continue to gain ground and foothold on enemy strongholds. Lieutenant General Carlito Galvez Jr., commander of West Mincom, emphasized that the clearing operations put utmost consideration on the safety of trapped civilians.
We chance upon the scene of two pigeons on a rooftop. One pigeon dying of starvation and another watching over it. Consider it a metaphor for compassion, love, and hope in time of war in Marawi. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
The fighting in Marawi has reportedly left 300,000 people needing temporary shelter. What you're seeing on your screens is a site identified by authorities to build temporary shelters for some 3,000 to 5,000 families. The landowners have agreed to lease it to the government at a low price. Marawi Mayor Mahul Usman Gandamra declines to say how much because the Maranao people have what they call maratabat, or a sense of honor and nobility. The government will build semi-permanent wooden homes instead of tents. The wood will come from illegal logs confiscated by the Environment Department. Evacuees may stay in them for a year. The military, meanwhile, is assuring evacuees of their safety in the area.
Yung range naman na kuwan ngayon, and nakita niyo may bundok naman diyan sa taas. So hindi na talaga aabot ang bala natin dito sa ngayon.
The whole project will cost roughly 60 million pesos. President Rodrigo Duterte visits the wake of 5 members of the Carlos family who were stabbed to death in their home in Bulacan. Mr. Duterte assures the family that justice will be served. He also promises to give cash and housing assistance. The president says the crime was a work of the devil, especially since the victims included 2 children. Here's the president in his own words.
I will repeat my warning. If you destroy my country, I will kill you. And if you destroy the young of this country, it happened here, which is more the work of the devil. Patayin niyo mga bata. Papatayin ko kayo.
A video posted on Facebook showing a bus driver and conductor beat up 3 traffic enforcers who apprehended them yesterday has gone viral, with thousands of reactions and shares. Take a look. Today, MMDA Chairman Danilo Lim confronted the bus driver and conductor, who are now detained at a Quezon City police station. Lim says he supports the filing of direct assault charges against Eddie Magangkong Jr. and Kim Lester Padilla of Metro Star Bus Line. They admitted to beating up the MMDA constables after they were apprehended on Pitoazon in Cubao for unloading passengers on a non-designated stop. Traffic enforcers asked Magangkong to surrender his license, but he punched them instead with Padilla's help.
Yung mga tao ko sa MMDA, pag nasa lugar yan at tama ang ginagawa, suportado ko yan. Sa ginawa ninyo, ako ang kaaway ninyo ngayon. Nakakulong kayo ngayon, kakasuhan kayo, pati yung prangkisa ng bus company ninyo, maapektuhan yan.
Car manufacturer BMW is taking its iconic 5 Series even further. In this report, our Clary Howe tells us the key features of BMW's newest offering that makes it more than just your typical luxury car.
German car maker BMW is rolling out a brand new 5 Series, the best-selling luxury sedan in the country today. With a price tag of up to 6 million pesos, the 5 Series has always been the executive's choice. No wonder it's the go-to car for the most important events in the Philippines.
Its predecessor was the same vehicle that was used for the APEC as the VIP vehicle, and this year it is also being used, a variant of the 5 Series also being used as a VIP shuttle for the ASEAN.
But this time, the 5 Series will be a hybrid not just of business but of sport as well, offering both elegance and performance, taking you from work to play.
It's for the ultimate business athlete. It's for the progressive businessman. It has the innovations expected in the driving performance expected from the BMW. Last year, we launched our flagship model, the 7 Series. Now, some of these features are now going to be seen in the 5 Series as well.
The new BMW 5 Series comes with a display key, which is your key but acts like a smartphone for your car. Here you can check whether your car is locked or unlocked. You can even check whether you've left any lights on. You can check how many kilometers you can still cover based on your fuel. And you can even set a time when your air conditioning will switch on, so that when you get to your car, it'll be nice and cool. The 5 Series also comes with gesture control. With a simple wave of the hand, you can change the volume of the radio or change the stations. And the interiors? Leather seats, wood and aluminum panels, and ambient lighting. As for the driving performance, the new 5 Series is 100 kilos lighter than previous models, making it even faster and more agile than ever. The 5 Series is one of the best-selling BMW cars in the country, accounting for 20% of total sales. Asian Car Makers Corporation, BMW's official importer and distributor, sold about 1,000 units last year with flat growth. But with the new 5 Series, only the 7th generation so far, officials believe units sold can surge by double digits this year. Claire Yao, CNN Philippines.
Lawmakers are investigating the supposed midnight deals of power generation companies affiliated with Meralco and the Energy Regulatory Commission, which may have caused power rates to rise. The House Committee on Good Government and Committee on Energy are carrying out the probe based on a resolution filed by Bayan Muna Party List Representative Carlos Zarate. Zarate says the Energy Department and the ERC required distribution utilities like Meralco to conduct a competitive bidding for power supply deals in November 2015. The ERC moved this deadline to April 30, 2016. Zarate pointed out this gave time for Meralco and its affiliated generation companies to enter into a power supply deal without competitive bidding, which was approved by the regulator. Zarate claims these contracts led to rate hikes as Meralco is paying its affiliated generators a 20% premium. Meralco is denying the claim.
The 7 long-term PSAs filed before the ERC on April 29 are not midnight deals. Discussions with power proponents, as mentioned earlier by Attorney Pamintuan, started as far back as 2012. These PSAs were executed to ensure least costs of power for captive customers, which is our franchise obligation, and to shield such customers from price spikes in the WSM. They represented the least cost among all offers received by Meralco.
Meralco points out the electric cooperatives, not them, requested for the 5-month extension as some of their deals are expiring after the original November 2015 deadline. Education is a priceless link to a better life. This week on The Story of the Filipino, we listen to stories of hope, perseverance, and success through the lives of Petron's Tulong Aral program scholars. They tell us why they never stop dreaming of a better future.
Yung hirap po nung pinagdaanan namin dati, kumbaga yun po yung inspirasyon ko kasi ang sabi ko po sa sarili ko, ayokong maranasan pa ng mahabang panahon yung hirap na yun kung meron namang way para malagpasan po yun. Marami pong benefits yung nakuha ko sa Petron Foundation kasi unang-una po, yung buong pag-aaral ko po, sila na po talaga yung sumagot. Magkaroon lang po ng engineer yung una kong pangalan, yun lang po talaga. Kung hindi ko po may papasa yung board exam, parang baliwala naman po lahat ng pinag-aralan ko.
Sa pinagdaanan ko po, parang natutunan ko po na kailangan mo lang po talagang magsipag. Kung yung mga available po na opportunities, i-grab mo po at huwag mo pong sayangin.
Gusto trabaho?
Sobrang malaki po yung pagkakaiba kasi nakita ko po talaga ngayon na magaan na po kahit paano yung buhay namin. Hindi ko naman po sinabing mayaman na kami, pero sobrang laki po ng pagbabago na talagang sure na po na may pagkain kami araw-araw. Sure na hindi kami mapuputulan ng ilaw at tubig. Sure na rin na yung mga kapatid ko, di nila maranasan yung naranasan namin na hindi makasama sa mga ganito activities sa school.
Dahil sa araw na ito, ay itatanghal namin mga iskola ng Petron sa harap ninyo ang aming pagtatapos sa ika-6 na baita.
Kung gusto mo talaga yung isang bagay, kahit gaano kakapagod, kahit gaano kakapuyat, kahit ano na yung, kung gaano katagal yung pag-aaral mo sa eskwela, kung gusto mo talaga, kakayanin mo yan. Tsaka, sabi nga ni Jose Rizal, ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan, pero kung walang paggabay ng mga magulang, mga guro, tapos ng Diyos, wala rin pong silbi yung sinabi ni Jose Rizal kasi hindi naman po kayang tumayo ng kabataan sa sarili nilang paa na walang paggabay ng magulang nila, mga guro, lalo po ng Diyos.
Yun po, para sa mga kabataan po na nahihirapan po o minsan titingnan nila yung buhay in a negative way, ang mensahe ko po para sa kanila is wag lang po silang susuko. And lahat po ng opportunities na magkakaroon sila, i-grab lang po nila. Kung ano man po yung meron tayong resource dito sa mundo, kailangan po natin yung kunin at tayo na lang po yung bahalang magpalago nun.
Catch the full episode of The Story of the Filipino tonight, right after CNN Philippines Newsroom. Award-winning scriptwriter Ricky Lee breaks his silence on why he resigned as a member of this year's Metro Manila Film Festival Executive Committee. Also ahead, the director of the much-anticipated sequel to the 2015 historical biopic Genera Luna shares a juicy detail about the film production. Keep it here on CNN Philippines Newsroom. Good evening once again to those of you joining us on Facebook Live. Stay with us until the end of the show. Coming up for you, entertainment news. Now, let's see how many we can greet here tonight. Tony Montaño says, good evening, CNN from Cebu City. Watching from Hong Kong, Perla Gabak. And good morning, Lourdes Mariano says, from Miami, Florida. Also, we'd like to say hi to Vivelin Padilla, who's joining us from Missouri in the USA. Charles Lagarto from Riyadh. And also, I see here Lori Paredes Tangonan and Pal Marquez, our colleague, thank you for watching us. Again, thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. And remember, for more stories, you can visit us at cnnphilippines.com. And keep sharing with us what you think about the stories and where you're watching from. We always love to hear from you, okay? I think I can say a few more greetings. We have Nelly Sakaon, who's watching from Hong Kong with love, she says. And si Juliet is watching from Ohio in the USA. Jeffrey D. watching from South Korea. And we have Albert Pulmones saying, always watching from Malaysia. Thank you all for your greetings. Stay with us until the end of the show. Welcome back. Legendary singer and actress Celeste Legazpi is coming back to the concert stage next month. The musical event is entitled Celeste, under the direction of Maestro Ryan Cayabyab. Premier vocal group The Company will also join the concert as a special guest. Legazpi is known for her signature songs in the late 70s like Tuliro, Sabado, and Mamang Sorbetero, among others. Meanwhile, the music icon has this to say on what people should expect from her solo concert.
Really, it's going to be a trip to the past with Bayhana and Company and Ryan. And in particular, it's going to be within the perspective of my father's contribution to the country. Within the tapestry of the music that I created in the past. And I'm hoping that all of this together will appeal to the audience of today.
Surely an epic concert, Celeste will be staged on August 5th at the theater at Soler. Award-winning scriptwriter Ricky Lee, one of 3 Metro Manila Film Festival Executive Committee members who recently resigned, speaks up. The Metro Manila Development Authority now explains why commercial films are back in this year's festival. Isabella Montano has that story.
Film director Eric Matti posted on Facebook a revelation that shocked the industry. 3 members of the Metro Manila Film Festival Executive Committee resign over the lack of desire to continue reforms initiated last year. For MMDA General Manager Tim Orbos, there has been no major clash, adding that he respects the decisions of the former committee members. He does admit that unlike last year when film choices were lauded for their artistic quality, this year's festival will include so-called commercial blockbusters that are expected to rake in box office revenues. Orbos says organizations that support the film industry rely on the cut of the festival earnings of movies shown in Metro Manila. Last year's artistically excellent indie movies raked in only 400 million pesos compared to the previous year's 1 billion pesos.
Not only do we push for artistic excellence, but we have a responsibility for our beneficiaries. It was put up precisely to support the industry, and you have beneficiaries there, and then that's why we need revenue. We have to strike a balance.
Orbos appeals to all to give the selection process a chance, since only 4 movies have made the cut so far. 4 more will be chosen in November, and he expects these to be so-called indie films. Meanwhile, Ricky Lee feels that choosing to have both commercial films and art house films in the same festival is a flawed formula and suggests a separate edition of the festival for big commercial movies. He also says that art house movies and blockbuster movies competing in the same festival make for an impossible choice when it comes to choosing the winners in awards categories.
I understand. And tama naman nabigyan nila ng pera and so on and so forth. That is precisely the reason why sana meron tayong box office film festival where to the max ang kikitain natin. Walang nakikigulo na ibang klaseng pelikula.
Lee, who is a multi-awarded scriptwriter, has written some of the most iconic Filipino movies of all time, from Jose Rizal to Muro Ami to Himala. All MMFF entries and all successful box office movies. Lee feels that through the years, the public's taste has somehow changed, and not necessarily for the best. Isabella Montano, CNN Philippines.
Director Gerald Tarog is giving fans a peek at the much-anticipated sequel to the 2015 historical biopic Genera Luna. On Instagram, Tarog shared this photograph of their 15th shooting day for Goyo, Ang Batang General. It shows production staff filming in an outdoor location barricaded with chroma or green screens, giving us an idea that some scenes will have computer-generated effects. Back in May, the official cast photograph of Goyo was released. Actor Paolo Avellino will reprise his role as a young General Gregorio del Pilar. The film will hit cinemas next year. And that's a newsroom for you this evening. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Thank you for watching. Good night.